Welcome back to the Tool Shed. I am psyched to do this one. Now, I've been waiting to do it. It's called the Barbaric Yawp. And if you haven't ever heard of the Barbaric Yawp, you are in for a treat. It was made famous by, what was a movie? Dead Poets Society, Robin Williams. It's been years since I've seen it. I need to rewatch it. But the bottom line is that only sort of revitalized what's been around for a very long time because it was inspired by Walt Whitman. And the reason why I had to wait and to do it is because I had to come to the office at night when nobody else is around. This is an office complex, and this one would scare the hell out of my neighbors across the way, and probably, I don't know, might even get my lease nullified, and didn't want that. So I had to sneak back in here. I'm sure there's still people around, and they're going to come running. But you'll see why. Now, if you don't know the Barbaric Yawp, I'm going to read from you at least part of Walt Whitman's poem that it is found in called Song of Myself. And it goes like this. The spotted hawk swoops by and accuses me. He complains of my gab and my loitering. I too am not a bit tamed. I too am untranslatable. I sound my barbaric yawp over the roofs of the world. The last scud of day holds back for me. It flings my likeness after the rest, and true as any, on the shadow's wilds, it coaxes me to the vapor and the dusk. I'll let you read it in its entirety. I'll put it below. But essentially at the heart of this, from what I've gathered reading it over the years and doing the Barbaric Yawp, I do it, and I'll tell you about that. It's really about reawakening within us a barbaric yawp. Well, what's a barbaric yawp? It's this primal drive. In Kabbalah, it's called nefesh. Nefesh is the stuff of life, the juice. Sometimes it's translated as soul. It's not, because in Kabbalah, there's nefesh, ruach, neshama, and then higher levels. And these are just different layers of soul. And so the lowest layer is nefesh. It's primal. It's in your blood. It's in your body. It's bodily soul. We usually don't think of soul like that. We've been sort of brainwashed in a Western frame of mind where it's like body and soul. At least in many traditions, Native Americanism, shamanism, Kabbalah, there's an intersection where the two are intertwined. And so if we live lives of, as Henry David Thoreau called it, quiet desperation, sitting behind computers all day like this, or on our phones walking around, or forget technology, just, too many niceties, too many saying the right thing, but not the true thing, we pay a price for it. We start to lose our barbaric yawp, our nefesh, our juice. We start to lose the stuff. I don't even know what to call it, but you know it when you see it, and you know it when you don't. More importantly, you know it when you don't feel it. And there are just times when we don't feel it, which is why we have to do the barbaric yawp, as Walt Whitman encourages. And so again, made famous in Dead Poets Society. I think men's groups have played with this as well. I've never done it in a men's group. I've always wanted to try, but it's a little too cliche for a men's group. But it's not too cliche for me. At home, it doesn't always work because you're going to see it's quite loud. However, when I lived in the north of Israel, a town called Sfat, it's the birthplace of Kabbalah. It's right up near the Golan Heights. I was living there I was actually only lived there once. It was in my 20s. Lived in Israel 3 times, but only in Sfat once. And I was there right around the High Holy Days. And the month leading up to the holiday of Yom Kippur is a very introspective time, very primal time traditionally in the Jewish calendar. What it's become in the West is something else. And you would hear down in the wadi, in the riverbeds, like way down below in the forest riverbed, you'd hear, Abba! Abba! And Abba is dad, father. And in Kabbalah, there's Ima, the divine feminine, and Abba, the divine masculine. And we are held accountable on Yom Kippur by the divine masculine. That's the God of judgment. That's the God of naughty and nice, to borrow from other places. There's a time and place for that. We need to be held accountable. We need that sense of right and wrong. And so, getting ready for that, the mystics would go down into the wadi and they'd be screaming. That was a barbaric yawp. They were trying to awaken that juice within them. It's not enough to read about these things. You gotta do them. That's why most houses of prayer are meaningless and empty, because please turn to page 145. Please rise. Please sit. I couldn't take it anymore. I wanted to say, fuck the prayers. Let's do the barbaric yawp. And let's cry out to Abba or to Ima or to Source. I'm alive, right? And I'm sorry, and I want to make amends, and I want to return, and take me back, and don't let me die while standing above ground breathing. So that's the barbaric yawp, and I think that's what Walt Whitman is getting at. That's the juice that he is trying to awaken within a man or a woman. And especially in the 21st century, I think in so many ways we're seeing the consequences of not being in touch with that juice, of not being in touch with that primal nature, and putting it onto the big screen where we watch superheroes do it for us, or putting it onto the small screen where we watch, boys in shoulder pads and helmets and tights do this for us, outsourcing our barbaric yawp to others to perform or to run with. And sometimes we do it by making others the enemy, right? By turning those people into bad, into dangerous, into threats, when in fact they're just tapping into something that scares us in ourselves. So we need to, as a society, but I don't care about society. I care about me. I care about you. I care about what I can control, getting back in touch with that. Now, you may want to do this one at home. There was a great movie, Robert Duvall. He was a preacher, and I can't remember the name of it, but he, when nobody was home, he would pull the shades of his home, and he would have it out all night long with God, screaming, yelling, making a case for himself. That's good. So many people I work with aren't in touch with that, especially religious people or people with religious hangovers. They'll say to me, look, I'm not supposed to be mad at God, or anybody for that matter, but if I can't be mad at God, I can't be mad at others. So isn't that wrong? Absolutely, it's not wrong. It was Elie Wiesel who said the opposite of love is not anger, it's indifference. Indifference is the killer of relationships. Whether you're talking about you and the divine, or you and your divine down here, your partner or your family, indifference kills. Anger doesn't kill. Anger's energy. We're so afraid of anger. I work with so many people to get back their anger, to get back their barbaric yawp, not to be used by anger, right? I have another tool on that, but to harness it for something good, righteous indignation. Martin Luther King, so angry. Mother Teresa, most people don't realize, was so angry. Fire and brimstone at their soul, but they harnessed it to make the world a better place. They had access to their barbaric yawp. So maybe you do this at home, you draw the curtains, you have it out. Maybe you go out into the woods. I live in Colorado. Plenty of places to go do your barbaric yawp here. Wherever you are, you can probably find a place, a space. Take a pillow, put your face in the pillow, and do the barbaric yawp. Now I'm going to do it. I'm not going to probably do it as primal as I've done it out in the woods, but I'm going to do it the best of my ability in an office building. Okay. And you may, leave behind any program you're doing of me after you hear me do this, but nonetheless, we're doing it. So there's no wrong way to do it, but I do believe you're supposed to get earth grounded, right? Take your shoes off. If you can, do it outside. Go outside, stand in the earth, get dirty, get gritty, get grimy, get back to the essence of who you are. A man, a woman is called Adamah, Adam. Adam means the earth. So get back in touch with that. Bring the energy from the ground up, right? Sometimes we bring, divine energy from the top down. This one is a ground up. This one is a primal. Feel the nefesh. I want you to feel it. Come on, it's just you and me. I want you to feel it sort of working its way up like sap in a tree, right? Here in Colorado right now, it looks like the trees are dead. They're not dead. The sap is rising. If they are dead, there's no sap. So make the sap rise. One day the sap will be gone. As long as it's here, you feel it. I pull it up my body like this, right? And I really start to make the, the fist and the intensity, and I feel it in my body, and I all right, that's as loud as I'm going to get. I know it freaked out some of you. I'm sure your headphones are on too loud. I do that 20 times out in the woods 100 times to the point where I can't do it anymore because my throat hurts, but something primal has been released. That energy goes out into the world, and I feel like what he's talking about, that no longer the spotted hawk swoops and accuses me, complaining of my gabbing, my loitering, my wasting time, my taking up space. The barbaric yawp, right, is a way to awaken the giant within, the nephesh, the spirit that is there lying dormant. It's just dormant. It's not dead, but you got to get in touch with it. So break free of your domesticated, civilized manners and ways for this one. There's no place for civility in it. Just get in touch with your barbaric yawp. Defy your number and live your spirit.